Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone to another edition of the FTW podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. Tonight we'll discuss, basically tonight's Impact and the final Impact inside the Impact Zone, as well as preview this Sunday's Lockdown. This pay-per-view special was recorded live on March 7th, 2013 on FTWLive.com. My name is Harrison, and joining us is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Garvin. Say hello, Garvin.
What's up, guys?
And we got a special guest and treat for you tonight, FTWPodcast.com contributor and the absolute king of the live chat hooligans, Nick. Say hello, Nick.
All hail the hooligan.
Regardless of how you're listening to us, go and visit FTWPodcast.com today. We've launched the blog, continue to push new content onto it. You can read Nick's amazing words on occasion. You can check it out, reading, comment on it. It's a lot of fun. We record every show on FTWLive.com, and you can view our upcoming schedule right there. Plus, you can find out how to find us everywhere you are, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, etc. And you should definitely check out the new shirts. We just released them a few weeks ago, and we're already getting pics from our favorite fans that are wearing them. Appreciate it. Keep it coming, and we absolutely love it. For you guys, you live chat hooligans listening live here tonight, on FTWLive.com. Glad you could be here. Now let's just roll right into TNA. So we just finished up the last Impact in the Impact Zone, at least for the foreseeable future. I doubt they're never going to come back to the place. But and it's the one that's going into Lethal Lockdown, which you can argue is the first of the new era of pay-per-views in TNA, because we've had considerable amount of time building up to it. But we're going to dive into Impact a little bit, discuss maybe 2 or 3 things we really want to pick out, that we really want to pick out and discuss. First thing on the docket, I think we really should discuss the fact that we have Hardy and Bully Ray coming up in the pay-per-view. Hardy and Aries had a match at the beginning of the event, and Matt Morgan interfered, jumping Hardy. Now, normally that's not that big of a deal, but given the fact that Hardy's held the belt for a little bit of time, and TNA's talking about, changing tack, and, Hogan's segment at the end where he kind of thanked, basically he inferred that he was thanking Hardy for his service. It was almost like he was saying, Hardy, thank you so much for being the champion. Now hand the belt over to Bully Ray. Do you think this is them prepping for a program between Hardy and Matt Morgan? What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, that's kind of the general impression I got, especially with the end segment. Just about everything that I saw there led me to believe that the title change is imminent. The only question is if TNA is going to follow through with that, or if they're going to try to pull the swerve.
Okay, Nick, what do you think? Do you think we're off base on this one, or do you think that maybe they're kind of tipping their hand and playing their cards a little bit?
No, it seems like Hardy's going to be dropping the belt soon. I suppose you could say TNA's tipping their hand. The only thing I'm not sure about is if it's going to be Bully Ray picking up the title, or if they are going to have a feud with Matt Morgan. Maybe they'll go with the route that Morgan feuds with Bully after Bully takes the title.
Okay. Garv, I want to kick it to you. We've had, basically, reframe the question a little bit. If it is, in fact, the fact that Hardy's going to be dropping the title this Sunday, and Matt Morgan, steps up and they feud, do you think how do you feel about that? Do you think that's an appropriate thing for Hardy to do, coming off the belt?
Well, I definitely like the idea of Matt Morgan getting involved in this. This is something that we've all wanted for so long. To finally see Matt Morgan get pushed as one of the top guys in the World Championship race, I think that's fantastic. As far as how that really affects Lockdown, I don't think it plays a major part in it. I mean, maybe he interferes again, but it seems like it would make more sense for Morgan to feud with Hardy after Lockdown than against Bully. Just because of styles and whatnot. I think he works better in that David versus Goliath type role. And Hardy can take a bump better than anyone else. I think Bully would be too strong for him. It would also tear us apart because, we want Bully to be champion, but then we want Morgan to be champion. And I don't know. That's not a conflict I want to walk into.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Well, do you agree that maybe TNA is kind of tipping their hand a little bit, on this show with the fact that, Hardy has this or Morgan has this run with Hardy, and then at the end of the show, Hogan does a segment where he kind of I mean, I don't want to say, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Well, what do you think? Do you think we're reading too much into it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because just because there's so much more involved in, the whole aces and eights thing. The whole situation is weird with how Hogan gave Bully the title shot, after everything that went down. It seemed odd. So I think there's more involved and it would be better for us to just wait and see, what unfolds. But I don't see, I don't see really anything coming out of this until after lockdown.
Okay, fair point. Speaking of aces and eights, Nick, we finally had the reveal of the VP for aces and eights, and it turns out it's D'Lo. Now, I want to preface this by saying when it was done on Twitter, it was kind of an argument over it, whether or not this was a big deal, because it is a big deal if you give context to it, that we would be saying, well, D'Lo's in charge of talent. It's a huge deal for that reason. But the counter argument to that is D'Lo really hasn't been on TV, and we shouldn't be the ones that have to explain why it's a big deal. It should be TNA telling us this is a big deal. So, Nick, setting aside whether or not what implications this has for aces and eights, because we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be a good thing. He looked great on the mic. He did awesome. But the actual reveal itself, do you think it might have been helped if D'Lo was on screen a little bit more beforehand, or do you think this kind of works because it's playing more to the educated wrestling fan?
Yeah, absolutely. D'Lo could have used more screen time. Could have made it bigger. People that have been watching for a while will probably understand the significance of this, since he is management, and if somebody in management is part of the aces and eights, I mean, it's like they said, nobody's safe. Anybody could be wearing the mask. You don't know. But as far as how it helps aces and eights, it doesn't really help all that much. It's another talking head, really. I don't think anybody's expecting D'Lo to get in the ring. So.
Okay, that's a fair point. Rob, do you agree with that? Do you think that it's not that big of a deal in the ring because D'Lo, aside from breaking up the occasional scrum, he really has no ring presence, so to speak?
Yeah, we're not going to see D'Lo Brown in the ring wrestling. That's pretty much guaranteed. And I do think that obviously it's a big deal. Like Nick said, D'Lo Brown is management. Anybody who's watched TNA for a little while kind of knows that, but his exact position has always been kind of vague. TNA really didn't do a good job of explaining why it's a big deal, and given how they tend to over-explain some other things, I would have liked to see, some more explanation going into why this is a big deal.
Okay, that's fair. Gareth, what do you think? I mean, do you think the hit really went? And the other question is, what implications do you think this has for the pay-per-view?
I was really torn about this. I was pissed at first, but after thinking about it and knowing what we know, it completely makes sense. Nick, you're absolutely correct. But the thing that bothers me the most about this is that, and this is where there is some credibility with Mike constantly calling me a TNA apologist, is because here we are filling in the blanks of why the story makes sense instead of them explaining it. I think this would have made a much bigger impact across the board if it was spelled out. And you have to do that sometimes. You can't just assume that everyone knows D'Lo is a big deal backstage just because he comes out every other week to break up fights. I mean, that's not really, it doesn't matter to anyone. So I don't know. I'm sort of disappointed in that, it didn't come across as such a big deal as it should have. But yeah, if you connect the dots, it does make sense, and it's a cool thing. Now, as far as, how it will affect the pay-per-view, I don't think it will at all. I don't, knowing that we're going to get the TNA versus, Aces and Eights match, I think that's really the only part that's going to take place that involves that storyline. Unless they do something crazy with the world title match, which is a possibility as well. But I don't think, I don't see D'Lo doing much at Lockdown.
And it doesn't take much for them to explain it. You can have Mike Tenay go on about this is a big deal because of whatever his position is. You can have Taz gloat about now Aces and Eights has somebody in management. I mean, it's very easy to do.
Right, Rob. But the only problem is, when it happened, when D'Lo was revealed, I was talking with Lou Tube Wins on Twitter. We were going back and forth about it. And the more I realized, it's like, basically what he and I were doing was giving context to this. And that's not our job. That's TNA's job.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. It would be very easy for TNA to give the context to this.
They didn't.
Rather than rely on us to do it.
Yeah, but they didn't. That's the problem. I mean, it was one of those things where, it was just
I totally agree. TNA dropped the ball there. They could have very easily added context.
Hang on. I don't want to say they dropped the ball. I mean, this is one of those things
where... Missed opportunity.
Maybe. I mean, you could say that too. But at the same time, it just happened. Like, we don't know, going forward what this means. I mean, the coming weeks are going to be, really... Basically, my point is, who cares how he was revealed if in 3 weeks it's a huge deal, or if in 3 weeks what he's doing doesn't matter. I mean, how it happened isn't that big of a deal, a month from now. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe, okay, they probably could have done this better, but it still doesn't mean this is a crap storyline, or this was a terrible reveal. Because, Garvin and Nick, you guys hit it. He's huge backstage. I mean, he's the head of talent. He's the head of talent, and now he's a part of Aces and Eights.
We did get some foreshadowing with the gut check where Wes Brisco got in. Al Snow got attacked, D'Lo stepped in, and we can assume that Brisco wouldn't have made it in if D'Lo hadn't been there.
Yeah. There was some foreshadowing there. Nice call, Nick.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, and that's what's being talked about in the live chat right now, is that, there was that moment, but we're talking like a 2-week thing, 3, 4, 5 months ago. I mean, it feels like it's so long ago that it doesn't even matter now, even though it does play a huge part in this. But again, and that's us filling in the blanks.
And TNA might be thinking that they can get away with no context right now, figuring that if a lot of fans don't get it, they can always add in the context later.
Yeah, exactly. But really, we got to move on. We're done with Impact. We got to talk about Lockdown. It's the reason why we're doing the show. We can't spend a half hour on Lockdown. And we're going to talk about TNA more, the implications of D'Lo's reveal, also, how much we marked out for Hardy and Bully's segment, and how great Bully Ray was, and if he is in fact winning the belt, how amazing he will be as champion. We'll be talking about that, including this pay-per-view we're going to discuss next on Tuesday during your regularly scheduled FTW programming time. We got we got Lockdown 2013. We're going to take a look at the card. I'm going to run through it real quick. It's this Sunday. It's going to be awesome. So far we got Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray for the world title. Velvet Sky and Gail Kim going for the Knockouts title. Team TNA, which is Sting, Magnus, Storm, Joe, and EY versus Aces and Eights, who have the advantage, which we'll get into in a little bit later, which is Devon, Anderson, Knox, DOC, and Bischoff Jr. Kurt Angle versus Wes Brisco, Aries
Bischoff
and
Jr.
Rude. Well, Aries and Rude versus Bad Influence and Chavo / Hernandez. Robbie E versus Robbie T, and one speculation match, probably going to see an X Division title match. Who knows? We haven't seen it on TV in a few weeks, so. But if it is, it'd be probably Kenny King versus maybe RVD or Zima Ion for the title. Who knows what's going to happen? It's at zero build. All right, so let's just start with the small. Let's just start with the small stuff. We'll work our way up. So we got Robbie E versus Robbie T in the grudge match, I guess you could call it. Could this be kind of the breakout moment for Robbie T, really, where they kind of spin him off and they really build him up into something special? Or do you think this is going to be another step in their feud? Let's go to Rob first.
I hope so. TNA has been, Robbie T has been one of the areas where TNA has really dropped the ball with, good solid talent that they really haven't done anything with. I'd like to see him win and move on, but who knows what TNA is going to do. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Robbie T wins this match. Right. As for what happens after that, fuck if I know.
Nick, what do you got? What do you think?
Like Rob said, Robbie T has been pretty much on fire lately. And he's also done some good stuff down in OVW. The only problem I see with Robbie T winning is this seems kind of sudden for the feud right before Lockdown. So I think Robbie E will get over by hook or by crook, most likely by shenanigans. But I'm going to give the win to Robbie E.
Okay. Garth, what do you think?
Yeah, as far as this being Robbie T's breakout moment, I definitely see it. I don't see them using Robbie E in anything productive other than putting guys over. I think that's going to be his role moving forward. Just because, I don't know, it's probably the character. The character can't really be pushed very hard. So yeah, by far they are pushing Robbie T the hardest. He has looked great. He has charisma now. That's something that he really hasn't had before. So yeah, I think this is definitely his breakout moment, him moving forward. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Robbie T.
Okay. Yeah, Garva, I'm gonna agree with you on that, and Nick, I can see where you're coming from on Robbie E. Because the only thing I have about Robbie T is that, it's one of those things like, okay, so you break Robbie T off, he does great, he's doing great, he is really talented. He beats Robbie E, then what? I mean, where do you put him? He's too big, really. I think he's too big for the mid card almost. He seems like he's got the main event size. He's got that Matt Morgan kind of look. He's just not ready for that level. So what do you do with him? And that's where I'm trying to think of, like, who would you even have him go against that's available on the card?
Joseph Park.
Yeah. I mean, you could. That'd be pretty awesome, actually. I mean, I guess you could probably throw him against a couple of aces and eights guys, but you really want to bring him into that? I don't know. I'm just going to go with Robbie E. I think Robbie T is going to get over, but I don't see him getting the win. I think it's going to be Robbie E. I'm with Nick. Excuse me. Next one up is Austin Aries and Rude versus Bad Influence or Chavo Hernandez for the strap. It's worth noting that Aries did not actually have the belt on him at all when he was out today. So the question is we have a triple kind of threat tag team match going on here. Could this be the beginning of the resurgence of tag team wrestling in TNA, or are we wishing for too much? Garv, what do you think?
First, Aries did have the title when he came out originally, for that segment with Hardy.
Yeah,
in the match. So the title was there. Yeah, as far as us hoping this is going to be the resurgence of the tag titles, I don't know. I mean, definitely we are hoping that's the case. But seeing that it's Chavo and Hernandez, who we hate, and Aries and Rude, who we don't want to be in the tag division for too long because we want to see them move forward and back into the world championship race, we only have Bad Influence. So maybe you put the titles on Bad Influence. I think that's where I would go with this, just because that frees up a bunch of opportunities. You either keep Chavo and Hernandez together to job the Bad Influence or feud with them or whatever, and then you can move Aries and Rude on, which is what we all predicted was going to happen anyways.
So then who do you pick?
Bad Influence.
You're going with Bad Influence. Really? All right. Nick, I want to go to you next. I mean, what do you think about what Garvin said? Do you agree with that? And do you think Bad Influence is ready for the belt already? Is prepared for the belt already? There.
Yeah, Bad Influence is definitely ready for another title reign. I'm just not sure if I'd want to take the belts off of Aries and Rude right away, since they just picked them up in the UK. But that would be my only objection. So, if I have to choose, I'm gonna say Aries and Rude retain.
All right. Nick says they retain. Rob, what do you got?
First of all, I think this could be the resurgence of the tag team division. You've got two solid tag teams here, one tag team that could be solid. We saw earlier tonight on Impact that Samoa Joe and Magnus reunited, and there's possibilities for them reuniting their tag team. So all in all, TNA does seem to be working to get their tag team division up and going. When it comes to this actual match, I'm going to go Aries and Rude for the same reason Nick does. I think it's way too early to take the belts off of Aries and Rude.
Yeah, I am 100% agreeing with you guys. I'm going with Aries and Rude. Mostly for what you guys have said, but mostly because I think TNA knows with this pay-per-view they got to do something huge, and having every belt change hands on one pay-per-view is too much. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking, I could see the Knockouts title switching. I definitely think the world title switching. So that leaves the tag straps got to stay on and Aries and Rude. So I think this one has a little bit of legs for right now. Plus we got that tag team. Well, no, that was pre-recorded, so forget that. All right, Garv, you got Rob, I'm sorry. Do you have something you wanted to say, or do you want me to kick to Garv for the live chat?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay, all right. Garv, you're the live chat helicopter. What's going on? What's going on out there?
Yeah, okay. So the live chat seems to be basically torn. They're basically picking everyone.
You're basically picking everyone. Way to hedge your bets, live chat. Way to hedge your bets.
So we got some votes for Aries and Rude. We got votes for the World Tag Team Champions of the World, and then Chavo and Hernandez getting the titles back. So yeah, I think this is a tough match to call, but let me retract my vote. I want to change my vote because I am interested in the idea of Aries and Rude going after every title. And I hope that they actually fulfill that storyline. But the problem with TNA, per me at least, is that they don't always follow through with things that they should. Like the whole Matt Morgan thing, they brought him in so strong, and then they partnered him with Joey Ryan. It just didn't make sense.
I like that.
No, I mean it was cool, but it's not the way they should have gone.
True.
At the time.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully they do continue this storyline and have Rude and Aries actually go after like the X Division and the TV title and stuff like that. So yeah, let me change my vote. I'm going to go with Aries and Rude.
That's actually a good point. The, every belt thing. I completely forgot about that. I was just thinking in the context of the show. That would be pretty amazing if they pull it off.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to the knockout titles, because I want to see how they're going to pull that off. That alone would be storyline gold.
Yeah, I want to see if they go after them themselves or contract it out like Gail Kim or somebody.
Yeah.
We get to see a knockout version of JBL and for hire, so that way you could just pay them and have them go out there and do what you want.
Or Austin Aries versus Eric Young for the Knockouts title.
At that point, we know women's wrestling is dead.
Yeah.
Don't need Kevin to record a new rant so we can use it in a bumper. All right. Kurt Angle versus Wes Briscoe, and I got to be honest, I'm not looking forward to this match at all. It's just Kurt Angle. He tries so hard, but he's getting so far up there, and Wes Briscoe is just not impressive. He's just not. He's yeah, he's got the name, but his segment today was painful. And whenever he's in the ring, he looks concerned is the only way I can describe it. I don't know how else to think about it. Rob, I mean, are you with me on this? Do you think I'm being a little too hard on this match?
No, Kurt Angle is in a whole different league. On Kurt Angle's worst day, he's 100 times better than Wes Briscoe will ever be. Briscoe's mic skills tonight were god awful.
Someone said on Twitter he sounded drunk.
He did. It sounded like, not only that, it sounded like he was literally making the promo up as he went along.
No, Rob, what it sounded like is that he forgot the original promo, and then he was trying to do a new one. He's like, oh, fuck, what do I say?
That could be too. I mean, and I get whenever the camera locks on his face, he's got this scared shitless
right?
Like holy shit, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
It really does. He looks terrified.
Get me out of this ring, please.
Yeah, he looks like he's being held. It looks like, seriously, he looks like it's like a movie and his wife is kidnapped and they say, you wrestle for TNA or your wife dies. So he's got to go out there every week and make sure that she's still alive. Like some kind of proof of life movie. Well, who are you picking for this? Rude or, I'm sorry.
Angle? I don't think there's any way in hell Wes Briscoe wins.
Alright. Nick, what do you think? I mean, do you think we're being a little too hard on Wes for this, or are you kind of in agreement with us?
Not really. Briscoe did sound pretty bad on the mic. The only thing he reminded me so much of was a Valley Girl. That was
Wow.
Man, you're not pulling punches tonight, that's for sure.
I know.
I was about to say, it's like it keeps getting worse. Each one of us is a little bit harder on Briscoe than the one before.
I'm worried to hell what the chat's coming up with right now. I don't know if we could read that on air. I think we could hate that. So who are you picking for the match? I mean, do you think it's going to be Angle, or do you think they're going to pull a surprise and kick it to Briscoe?
As bad as Briscoe was on the mic tonight, I do think he's going to go over in the match, because if anybody can put Briscoe over, it's Angle. And even if Briscoe's in-ring skills aren't that great, Angle usually delivers in a cage match. So I think we'll wind up getting a pretty decent match. And maybe Briscoe will pull some kind of trick, or the Angle will get distracted by something outside and he'll get the sneaky win.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably true.
Win by
I've always been,
shenanigans.
well, I've historically been pretty hard on Angle, so that's probably right, Nick. All right, Garv, what do you got? What do you think?
I must have blacked out during that segment because I didn't think it was that bad. Maybe I was listening to something else.
You really think he's going to beat Cyborg?
Don't, Rob. Damn it. Don't even start with that. I'm not even going to say it.
But yeah, overall, I don't have high hopes for anything that Brisco does, especially after the match that he had with Bischoff. And I know that was partially to do with how awful Bischoff is in the ring, but yeah, I don't have high hopes for it. Harrison, you're correct in that if anyone can put Brisco over, it's Angle.
That was Nick, but I will take credit.
Nick, whoever said it, you're a genius. But yeah, I
am a genius.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Wes Brisco though.
All right.
For the same reason, shenanigans. From the live chat, they are in agreement. He's a bust. He was awful on the mic tonight, and there's no way he will win. But that's what they say. But I think there is a way he'll win, and shenanigans is it. Because Aces and Eights has to win some big matches. We've said it over and over again. This is a perfect opportunity to do it.
Okay. Now, the question I have before we move on is, what if TNA was going meta with this? What if Wes Brisco is actually really good, but he's being bad, so they can promote the fact that he's untouchable in that D'Lo got him in, or I'm sorry, that Taz got him in, D'Lo's keeping him in, and that they can't get rid of him, even though how terrible he is. I mean, what if that was the case? Like, he was okay in the ring. I mean, it would kind of be kind of like it would be kind of a meta approach to it. Or do you think that would be a little too inside baseball to pull off something like that?
I don't know why they would portray him as being not that great. You'd think that they would try to do the opposite. They'd try to build him up and make it seem like, Aces and Eights actually picked up a huge free agent that's awesome instead of what we have.
Well, I think it would be more of a proof of, how the reach of Aces and Eights, and that Wes Brisco comes in, maybe it was, his dad and his uncle, who is one guy apparently, who is that he trades in on his name, and because of whatever clout he has with Aces and Eights, he's untouchable, even though he's terrible for the company. Like, he's he's the drunk cut, he's Billy, well, never mind. All right. Well, anyway, it's a stupid idea, but I think it'd be kind of meta if they pulled that one out. All right, so here we are. Team TNA, Sting, Magnus, Joe, Storm, and EY versus Aces and Eights, who have the advantage. Devon, Anderson, Knox, DOC, and Bischoff. And the way the advantage works is that with the match, one person from TNA is going to start, one person from Aces and Eights, and what's going to happen is they're going to come in alternately. Well, that means because Aces and Eights has the advantage, their guy is going to come in first. So there's going to be a period of time where they have numbers advantage each time somebody else comes out. So that's what we're going into right now. I'm really looking forward to this match, mostly because I love the idea of Magnus and Joe teaming up again. I think it's going to be awesome. Storm looks to be on fire. EY, I think he's going to be a little ring rusty, but he could be pretty good. And I think it'll make up for Sting, who's kind of rickety around there. But Aces and Eights, I really got to think, if they need, we keep saying they need a big win. For me, I'm just going to start off right off the bat and say I really think Aces and Eights is going to get over because, like we keep saying, they need the huge win. They got D'Lo with the reveal. They got a lot of momentum on their side now. I think this huge win for for Aces and Eights to beat Team TNA, specifically Sting and, like, you could say some of the top guys in TNA, at the first big pay-per-view of this new era of TNA, I really got to think it'd be a mistake, or at least a missed opportunity to not have Aces and Eights get over on that. Nick, what do you think? I mean, do you think that they do that, or do you think that Team TNA, just because of the check to the D'Lo thing?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it a Team TNA because, Aces and Eights is going in with, they're holding all the cards. They got the man advantage. They just got a member of management on their side. It'd be classic underdog fashion. And, also, no matter how many men Aces and Eights might have, Team TNA has the beard. So, go Team Beard.
Again with that.
Can't argue that.
The second Morgan came out with that beard, I was like, oh, God, this is all we're going to hear about on Tuesday. Is Garvin and Joe going on and on about this goddamn thing. All right, Rob, what do you think? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick, I'm sorry. So you're going with Team TNA then?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to get that unofficial. Okay, Rob, I mean, what do you think?
Historically, the team with the man advantage has lost more often than they have won, I believe. Also, I agree with Nick. While they haven't won the big match, Aces and Eights has all of the momentum right now. TNA is up against the ropes. It's actually TNA that needs to win this time. So I'm going to give the win to Team TNA.
Rob saying Team TNA. Garv, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Aces and Eights. Yeah. Now that you think, looking back at the statement that they need to win a big match, Wes Brisco versus Angle isn't a big match. This would be it. This would be something huge that you would need to take them more seriously. And I thought it was really interesting, that whole backstage segment with EY. EY cut the promo of his life, and then Sting was like, we're gonna storm. So I think there's something more to that they were alluding to. So, yeah. So I definitely, I'm definitely gonna go with Aces and Eights. They need this win. And just look into the live chat. The live chat is in complete agreement with that statement that Aces and Eights will walk out with the win.
Yeah. And the other thing for Aces, and to kind of like beat on Nick and Rob some more, is with Aces and Eights with their big win, it almost like, I imagine that if they won by playing as a team, and TNA really didn't have that kind of cohesion there, it would have, I think, the same shot in the arm for Aces and Eights that it did for the Shield for WWE 2 weeks ago. I think that similar kind of win would be a huge boon for Aces and Eights going out of it. And I think almost as important as them winning is how they win.
And I think you guys are putting too much importance on Aces and Eights winning matches. Momentum is decided by a number of different factors.
Oh, I know, Rob. You don't have to win any matches to be taken seriously.
You really don't if you do things the right way. Fuck you, Garvin.
Well, hey, Tessmacher didn't really win any matches for a while, and we were taking her seriously, so there's that.
Exactly. My point.
Speaking of the Knockouts division, I can't believe I made my own. I set up my own segue. How sad is that? Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim for the Knockout title, and this is one of those things where for weeks, Garver, I'm going straight to you with this. I'm gunning for you. You've been a vocal critic of Velvet Sky since her return. You said that she's really lacked the certain Velvet Skyness that she's had in the past. Going into this, seeing how she was tonight on Impact, and the kind of match run that she had with Gail for a bit there, do you see her dropping the title to Gail?
No, my prediction is Velvet will win. Gail will look 10 times better than her in every single aspect, but she's still going to lose. Yeah, Velvet wins, and I will cry, and it's a travesty that's what's happening to the Knockout division right now.
All right, Nick, what do you think? Do you think it's a travesty for Velvet to win? Is she really that bad as Garvin is saying she is?
I don't think she's that bad. I do think she hasn't been as impressive as she has in the past, but I put that down more to maybe a combination of ring rust, and she's also expanding her moveset. So you can expect a little time between then and once you get some moves down. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give the win to Velvet. Like Garvin said, Gail Kim's gonna look great, but I think it's too soon for Velvet to drop the title.
Okay, Rob, what do you think? I mean, do you think that Nick's on something with Velvet's expanding her repertoire?
Nick hit it right on the head. I mean, there's a little bit of ring rust. Velvet's adding new moves. There's going to be a period of adjustment there. I think she's going to retain the title. There's the way things went down in the tag team match tonight made it pretty obvious that Gail Kim is probably going to lose. So I'm going to say, yeah, Velvet retains the Knockout title.
Do I dare be the lone voice of dissension on this one? I'm a huge.
I dare you, Harrison. I dare you.
I'm a huge Velvet Sky fan, but I really think Gail's been on a tear, and I think TNA is. I don't want to say they're starting to notice, but I think I think they kind of know that it would be a shot in the arm, but I think, damn it, the only problem I have with this is that, yeah, Velvet just come back. She just came back. Taking the belt off of her and putting it on Gail, I think would be a mistake because any improvement that Velvet would have to get back into form, I think would be destroyed. And TNA can't keep doing that. They did it in the X division. They did it in the Knockouts division too. So they can't really keep, I mean, they did it to Tara for crying out loud when Mickie James came back. So they can't keep doing that kind of thing. However, Gail's been looking so good. And this is the Gail Kim that I wish held the belt for as long as she did. She's just been on such great form. So if Velvet does win, which I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to go with you guys and say Velvet wins. I hope Velvet and Gail Kim keeps going because Gail's just been looking fan-friggin-tastic in the ring. Garv, you got something you want to yell at me about?
No, I'm confused. Are you choosing Gail or are you choosing Velvet?
I'm choosing Velvet because I think Velvet's still got a lot of improvement to go, so taking the belt off would destroy it. And I just hope that Velvet and Gail, the program of that, continues for a while because Gail's been doing so well and she needs screen time means a paycheck, and that's the best thing I can hope for right now.
Okay. I just wanted to make it clear because it almost sounded like you were letting FTW draft cloud your judgment there. So,
I know, right? That's the other thing too.
All right. The live chat, is basically going with that as well. Velvet wins, she retains, but Gail will look awesome.
Yeah. Hands down. But then again, maybe this is the match. I mean, it just don't write it off entirely. Maybe this is the match that Velvet, everything just kind of clicks into place. You never know. I mean, Rick said it. She was expanding her repertoire. Maybe this is the one where she really, all right, I'm back. So it'll be interesting to see. All right. Quick speculation match. The Kenny King, match, versus RVD or Zuma Ion for the X Division title. Garv, I want to kick this to you real quick. I mean, what do you think about the speculation match going in? I mean, do you see it being a huge deal? Do you see it actually happening? Or do you think this is going to be lead off the card and then we're done?
Well, we have six matches on the card right now. So we do have room for a seventh.
Well, one of those matches is a 5-on-5.
Sure.
Sure.
And that can go a while. I don't know. I don't see why they would hold it off. I mean, I know in the beginning of the episode you were suggesting that there wasn't a whole lot of build up for this match, but there actually was compared to what we have seen in the last couple of months. The RVD versus Kenny King match where Kenny King won the title was last week. The week prior, they had a backstage segment, building up that feud. So, and that crossed over to Explosion, last week, which was nice to see. So, overall, I think that there is a solid story there. I would imagine it's going to be Kenny King versus RVD. Just the rematch clause that they normally get, except for RVD. I still don't think ever got his world title rematch. I think that's going to be the match, and I'm going to stick with Kenny King.
He did.
Retaining. He did?
No, Rob, he didn't?
Yeah, RVD eventually, like a year and a half after he lost the belt.
But he wasn't handed the rematch. He had to, earn it, didn't he?
I think so.
Hogan just handed it to him.
Rob, saying a year and a half counts is like saying me putting my phone in my pocket is going to get me laid. Yeah, eventually I'm going to have sex, but that doesn't mean that's why.
Rob, see, this is the issue again. Here we are filling in the blanks that TNA is not.
Yeah, exactly. We're providing the context. We should not be doing this.
I only say that because they actually made reference to TNA actually made reference to the rematch clause and the fact that it had been so long since RVD got the title. So TNA did actually make reference to he's getting this match now because of the rematch clause.
I think I remember him muttering under his breath, "Holy shit, is that right?" And so I do remember that. All right, so okay, really, Nick, Rob, assuming this match probably is going to happen. Kenny King's going to defend his belt. Does anybody really think he's going to drop it to?
No, it's going to be Kenny. It's going to be Kenny King versus RVD, and he's going to hold the belt.
Nick, you disagree?
With the promo with the promo they gave Kenny King on Impact, I don't see how he loses.
Okay, Rob, you disagree, or are you pretty much on board with that one?
You mean Nick?
Nick. Whatever.
Yeah, see, I just got done talking, so
whatever. Shut up.
Yeah, what Rob and Rob said.
Peon number 3. What do you think?
Yeah, Rob's pretty much hit the nail on the head. Too soon for Kenny King to drop it. So I think we can expect to see Kenny King and RVD at Lockdown, and King will go over.
Actually, I should make you peon number 2 because you actually write for the site. I'll make probably peon number 3.
Sweet.
Fuck you, Harrison. Just for that, I'm going to say Cyborg every chance I get.
Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater, Rob.
All right. Hey, this is an idea from the live chat. What about a Zima Ion versus RVD versus Kenny King match in a steel cage?
That could be too.
That would be interesting because I think Kenny King and Zima Ion could do a lot with that. But I still think it doesn't matter. Whatever scenario they throw in, Kenny King's not dropping the belt, assuming he doesn't get into a car accident in the next couple of days.
Yeah, unless the man has a heart attack and dies, he's going to retain the belt.
I really hope he doesn't get into a car accident or has a heart attack and dies. Because
I know, right? We will feel so horrible. I'll be like, oh my God.
I appreciate that. Because all I have is IKEA furniture around, and I'm pretty sure that's not real wood. Oh, wait, my sofa's real wood.
Real wood, uh-oh.
There it is.
I've got real wood.
All right. Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray for the World Heavyweight title. This match should be amazing. Bully has been on fire, on the mic. I mean, he's just unstoppable. It seems like it's unbelievable that he keeps getting better, is the only thing I can describe it as. Jeff Hardy has been doing great. You know, his match work's been good. His segment work has been getting better. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's live. It wasn't edited or anything. It was
actually in English tonight.
Well, okay, I realize, Rob, you think everyone in the South speaks a different language, but your racism aside.
No, I'm talking about Jeff Hardy and his inability to speak English, not Southern people.
All right, so Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray for the world title. We kind of talked about it earlier on whether or not TNA tipped their hand on switching the belt to Bully Ray. So here it is. Put your chips on the board. Do you really think that TNA tipped their hand and that Bully Ray is going to win the belt? Because I think they do. I think they did. I think Bully Ray is walking out with the strap. Rob, what do you think? I mean, does your Jeff Hardy hate extend that far?
It's like we talked about in the pre-show tonight at the end while we were watching the end of Impact. By the time Bully Ray got done with his promo, even Jeff Hardy was like, fuck, you went.
He was applauding and laughing.
I mean, even Jeff Hardy's like, damn, dude, I hope you win.
I'll just give the belt around. We'll save on airfare.
So yeah, I think either, if not TNA, Jeff Hardy definitely tipped the hand as to what was going to happen, and I think Bully Ray is going to win the world title.
All right, so you're with Bully. Nick, you with Robin? You think Bully Ray's going to walk out with the belt, or you think Jeff Hardy's retaining?
Yeah, as much as I feel I have to defend my fellow North Carolinian, Bully's getting fed the title on a silver platter here. So, yeah, Hardy's dropping the belt, and Bully's becoming the new world heavyweight champion.
Okay. Garv, you want to make this a 4-peat? Unanimous decision from the FTW podcast? Whenever this happens, we've been 100% right when it comes to TNA.
I
think.
My issue is I feel like I am going with my heart rather than logic if I go with Bully Ray. Because I want Bully Ray to hold the title. I don't want Jeff Hardy to hold the title. So I'm torn.
What's between your heart and your head? Go with your clavicle.
Well, let's first go to the live chat. The live chat is mostly really? Hardy. It's like it's 4-1 kind of thing about Hardy. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Bully. Like it was said previously, he's being handed the title on a silver platter. If he doesn't win, it would be definitely due to some kind of shenanigans. But I don't know. I think. Well, let me turn this question back to you guys. Do you think that Bully Ray is going to be involved in Aces and Eights and somehow he gets helped by them to win? Because I see that as a great possibility. I won't like it, but I think that's a definite possibility. And just because it's obvious, and they keep going with the obvious choice and everything. The obvious choice was D'Lo Brown because D'Lo was playing that part, just like everyone else. So it seems like that's the way they're going is Bully Ray. Do you think that they'll pull the trigger on it?
Nick, what do you think?
I could see Devon coming out and acting like he's going to attack Bully, but then pulling a switch at the last second. But I'm not sure they go this fast after just revealing the VP. I think they want to draw out the the big reveal of who the leader is, or if Bully's not the leader, if Bully is associated with Ace and Eights. I think they'll want to drag that out a little more.
Yeah, I'm with Nick on that one. If you make Bully Ray a member of Aces and Eights, that almost completely erases the reveal of D'Lo. I mean, that becomes a much bigger story. And then you lose, well, I'm hesitant to say you lose the news cycle, but that's essentially what would happen, is then the conversation shifts from D'Lo to immediately to Bully, only because, Bully's been on camera a lot more, and so it's got a lot more impact than D'Lo.
I don't think, they're gonna put Bully in Aces and Eights. I think, the window on that has kind of closed. If they want to revisit that, they have to wait a little while. Especially because, like you guys have said, if they do it right now, it completely erases what happened with D'Lo. And everybody's going to be talking about Bully Ray because it's a much bigger turn. And because unlike D'Lo and Taz, Bully Ray can actually get in the ring and fight.
Okay. Rob, that's an excellent point. I want to touch on this real quick before we wrap up the show. It's an excellent point in that they kind of missed the window. So the question is, if they wanted to make Bully Ray a member of Aces and Eights, they would have to make their own opportunity again. And if they did do that, would that be too much? I mean, would that point to Bully Ray too much? If we again had the same thing that we had previously, where the speculation surrounded Bully Ray being a part of Aces and Eights, would that be like, all right, you guys are getting a little heavy-handed with it now?
I think it would, because the conspiracy theory hasn't gone away.
Right.
I mean, you still hear fans talking about, Bully Ray. Bully Ray is going to be a member of Aces and Eights. So if they started building up towards that, it's too convenient. Right, it's too convenient, and you're making it too obvious. So I think they missed the window of opportunity on that, and they have to keep Bully Ray as a face, at least for now.
Okay. Nick, you agree with that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Everybody out there saying it. I think TNA wants to throw us a couple more swerves before everything is laid on the table. So they'll probably wait for a while, let the rumors die down some, let Bully establish himself more fully as a face, and then if Bully being part of Aces and Eights is in the cards, pun intended, I think then they'll do it.
Okay.
And they probably have to do it like right out of the blue. Just kind of like instant heel turn.
Yeah, exactly. Garv, you're with us on that one, or?
Yeah, I think if they did pull that move, I mean, that's like the deal breaker kind of thing. That's pretty much saying, all right, this is your complete group, and I don't think they're in a position to make that move just yet. So let me make a correction real quick. The live chat was actually saying Bully, not Hardy. So I was wrong when I said that before. And I'm going to agree with you guys. I'm going to go with Bully Ray with the win. And it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see him holding the title.
It's going to be fantastic. And it's not like, oh, thank God Bully's taking the title from Jeff. I mean, Jeff's been doing great. I can't begrudge Hardy. For me, I was never really that keen on Jeff Hardy for a while, but this last title run, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with it. And if he did have to retain the title, it'd be a missed opportunity, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. At least I don't think.
Yeah, I've never been a huge Hardy fan, but
that is the understatement of the year.
But recently his work in ring has been much better than it usually is. So,
even though he's from South Carolina?
I have no problem with where he's from. I have a problem with the fact that he can't deliver a promo in English, and I have a problem with the fact that his in-ring work at times is god awful.
I like that Nick corrected me by saying North Carolina, like he was offended.
If he was from South Carolina, I'd be throwing him under the bus every chance I got.
There's a reason there's a North Carolina and a South Carolina, Harrison.
There's a North Dakota. Yeah, there's a North Dakota and South Dakota because they just cannot get along.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So Lockdown 2013. This is the first big pay-per-view of the year. This is the first reel of the new breed of TNA pay-per-views where they've had a few months build. The build to the pay-per-view and how you feel the pay-per-view is going to shake out. Do you think that this new route, as we're going into the pay-per-view, do you think it's successful? Nick, how do you feel about it? We've had an extended period of time to build up to the pay-per-view with storylines and everything like that. Do you see the signs of that with this, or do you think I don't see, or are you basically thinking this easily could have been done in a month?
I think the build-up's been pretty good. Tonight was pretty good. I think it would have been better if last week's Impact had been the go-home show. That was pretty great. Matt Morgan came back. E. White came back, especially the Wade came back. But overall, I'm not disappointed with the build-up at all. I think it's been great.
Okay, Rob, what do you think?
I think the build-up could have been a little bit better. They waited a little bit long to actually start putting the matches in place and everything, but I'll chalk that up to TNA getting used to the new format and everything they're going. But Lockdown itself, the actual event, looks like it's going to be a pretty cool pay-per-view event.
Okay. Garv, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a solid card. I think it feels like it's a slow build just because realistically it has been. It's something we're not used to. So I think right now, I think it's safe to say that, we'll be able to say that for sure going into the next pay-per-view. But I think the way they've built it out, spread out, it made sense. Sure, you want the fast answer on every single thing that they're doing, and we still were getting matches tonight.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Garvin, that in addition to TNA getting used to the new schedule, the fans have to get used to the new schedule too.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you want to say, if you want to ask, is this successful so far as the new pay-per-view schedule? I'm going to have to say yes. If you look at the ticket sales, like I'm looking at just like the different rumors that are going around, between 4,000 and 6,000 tickets are already sold. This is setting new records for TNA in the U.S. as far as attendance records. So overall, I would say for sure this is very successful for them, and I hope that trend continues. From what I'm reading, it sounds like they're going to be opening up more seats because there is a demand.
That's fantastic, and you can't help but get excited at it. And I remember I was so excited when I first heard about it because this is something that we were talking about in the show at the end of last year, like what would we do for TNA, and kicking around the idea of changing up the schedule. But for me, some of these matches I look at and I'm like, well, Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim is almost like a rubber match. Team TNA and Aces and Eights, yeah, that's a 3-month build right there. Kurt Angle and Wes Briscoe, not really. I mean, you're thinking that's only 3 weeks. Aries Rude, the tag belts, kinda, but that's kind of, again, we're seeing a feud here that's been building for the past 6 months. Robbie E, Robbie T, I can't see why that couldn't take a month. I think, yeah. Jeff Hardy versus Bully, I could definitely see that being deserving of 3 months. It's one of those things that you can tell TNA, they're still feeling it out, still getting used to it. There's some stuff here they could have done with. It'll be interesting to see going forward, especially this time next year, assuming that they keep this going next year. What Lockdown 2014 is going to look compared to Lockdown 2013. And I would really love to sit down and have a good panel discussion on that, on whether or not, assuming that we're still doing the show then. Because I'll have a kid, who knows where I'll be. But, a year's gone by. How do we feel about this experiment? All right. So great. This should be a fantastic show. Anybody got any final thoughts before we close it out?
Well, first I want to throw a shout out. There's a bunch of people in the live chat from, the Facebook group that we're a part of. It's TNA Where the Big Boys Play. It's a solid group all around. It's made by TNA fans for TNA fans. So, great conversations going on all the time about TNA. So if you're a fan of TNA, which you are because you're listening, you should definitely, check that Facebook group out.
That's a great way to put that question. All right, Nick, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. You can, I'm going to plug Nick on our stuff, and then you can plug your own stuff. So Nick's been contributing to, if you go to ftwpodcast.com and you click on the blog link, you can see different posts that we put out there. And hands down, one of the best contributors that we got on here, aside from maybe me, is Nick and Garvin. Is Nick posted on there, doing a fantastic job, excellent insight. And the thing I have to remind you people about is that this isn't Bleacher Report. This is so much better. This is so much better than SB Nation. This is real, concise, excellent and well thought out articles on pro wrestling. And it's so much better than the top WrestleMania matches of the past 10 years. And, you got to click through for hits and it's all that bullshit I can't stand. Anyway, Nick, if people want to find out more about you, aside from here and on our site, where can they go?
Well, I also do the TNA recap for Radio Under the Influence. It's radioinfluence.com. You can find it there. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. Hit me up on Twitter at Atomic Geek. Pretty much spelled as it sounds, I guess. Aside from that, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, again, Nick, thank you so much for being on. And that's the show. You can sponsor a future episode by going to ftwpodcast.com/sponsor. And while you're at the site, check out all the shirts we have available at ftwpodcast.com/shirts. We have to get some kind of account thing going where we'll show the pictures of everyone that sent them in. Make sure to join us at Tuesday night. We're doing Wrestling with Beer next week, right?
Wrestling with Beer is this Saturday at 1:30. Joe and I are going to be reviewing Wells Banana Bread beer. And we're also going to be talking about the brewing process. I will be bottling my latest brew on air. It's about an hour and a half show, so definitely check it out if you like beer. We'll also be talking ftwdraft.com as this is the final week of the regular season. Rob is hoping to hit it big with all of his TNA members on his team. Nick has no chance, but it was a good try. But yeah,
I don't know what happened.
But this is the final week of FTW Draft, so we're gonna be talking about, the regular season of it, and then we're gonna go into playoffs. So we'll go into all of that and any other topics that come up between now and then.
All right. Thank you, Garvin. This Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, ftwlive.com. Go check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. Rate us on iTunes, tell your friends, help us get you through the week that was in WWE and TNA. I want to thank everyone in the live chat hooligans representing, again, always quality when you show up. And we'll see you next time here on ftwlive.com.